Welcome to another edition of Lakers Roundtable. I'm Mark Medina with the LA Times Lakers blog, and you know what? It sure is tempting to want to preview the Lakers-Celtics matchup on Sunday, but there's one little thing. The Lakers technically have one more game before that against the Sacramento Kings. And to preview that matchup, we bring in Sacramento Bee's Kings beat reporter, Jason Jones. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good. Well, Jason, I kind of already outlined it. I mean, obviously the records speak for itself. The Kings have a 10-33 mark at second to last in the West. Lakers are 33-13. They're only trailing San Antonio in the West, and the Lakers have already beaten them, the Kings, twice already this season. But, you know, again, there's that game against Boston that the Lakers may be looking ahead to. What would Sacramento need to do to exploit that possible lack of focus from the Lakers' end?
No, they're going to have to pretty much play their best game of the season there. The Kings have a real problem with staying out of foul trouble, especially with their bigs. They have a lot of bigs, but definitely, you know, when they start going to their, to their bench, they lose a lot of their offense, at least at the center spot when they go from DeMarcus Cousins to Samuel Dalembert, and then when they go to Jason Thompson to Carl Landry. Carl always hurts the Lakers, it seems like, but Carl's also a bit undersized at the four spot, so they're going to need to stay out of foul trouble. They're going to need Tyreke Evans to play pretty much, at the level he was most of the season, most of the last season, as opposed to the way he's been up and down this season.
You've also written that the Kings have kind of made sort of a habit of playing well, but then kind of stopping that when when the execution really matters the most in crunch time. What's kind of the cause for that disconnect?
I think a lot of it is a lot of young guys doing a lot of young guy type things. The defense will adjust to what they're doing well in the first half, and they just haven't been able to figure out what teams are taking away from them. If Tyreek's driving to the basket well for the first half, they take it away. Tries instead of sometimes finding a different way to do things. They actually did a pretty good job at not doing that Monday up in Portland. They did a good job when the game got late. Not still running their offense, not kind of settling for bad shots, committing turnovers and fouls. I think they've led in their losses. They had the lead in the fourth quarter of 16 of their losses. So I mean, you look at their record. And I think in 7 of those games they were up by at least 7 points in the fourth quarter and they lost. And that includes some really bad collapses. They were up by 9 with 3 minutes to go last week in Oakland, lost. They were up by, I think, 5, but less than a minute to go against the Warriors and Sacramento and lost. So they've had some pretty bad late losses.
Wow, it sounds pretty extensive here. You know what? We're talking with the Sacramento beat reporter, Jason Jones. You can also follow him on Twitter at Mr._Jason Jones. And there, Jason, you tweeted earlier today that Carl Landry had said some quotes of, I guess we're taking out of context in the story from the Sacramento Bee, where he criticized the system the team's running, questioned the team's basketball IQ, and I guess he indicated that he's apologized to the team. What's been the reaction to that?
I got to catch up with him before I got my flight down here, and pretty much he said that when he read what was actually, their columnist Aileen Voisin who wrote the piece, and he said when he read it, he just felt like some of the things he had said were the quotes weren't inaccurate. Just the way they were used in the story, he felt supported, didn't exactly give the full breadth of what he was referring to when he mentioned certain things about the offense and looking at the team run thing. There's part of the article where he's pretty much praising Rick Adelman's offense, and it makes it sound like he's just trashing Westfall's offense. And after practice, and so he was trying to make it clear that he was not trashing Westfall's offense when he made that comment. He was just kind of commenting on the way why they were able to have that long winning streak in Houston a couple of years ago when they won. There was 22 in a row. So
right.
He was just trying to make it clear that he was not trashing. Because there was also a part where he talked about the basketball IQ. Then he mentions Jason Thompson, how he's had a bunch of coaches, and so he didn't want to, anyone to think that he was calling Jason Thompson dumb or anything. So I think it was a lot of damage control with it. But when I read it, I didn't instantly think, oh, he's trashing everyone. It seemed like it was some kind of harsh comments, but he wanted to make sure he wouldn't apologize to the coach and the entire team today.
Right. I mean, you follow this team all season. I mean, how would you evaluate just like the substance of I guess what he was trying to get at in terms of just, where this team is at its point in its development?
It's been better the last month or so. Oddly enough, it got better once there was a report that Westfall and the president Jeff Petrie are going to get fired. It's like that happened, and all of a sudden, it's like maybe with these young guys, who maybe thought, like it's the coach's fault, it's his fault, realize that it is a business, and when things don't work, people lose their jobs. So it seemed like when that happened, the guys one thing Landry did say after that was that Westfall changed some of the offense. He took some plays out, added some other plays that the guys seem to like a little more, to give them a little more freedom. And I think they might have had a story broke, and obviously neither guy was fired, but they might have had 5 wins. They're at 10, which is obviously, they're still in last place in the conference, but, to go from 5 wins over a couple of months to go to 10 in about 6 weeks for them is pretty good progress. I mean, they're competitive most nights. They're not getting anymore. It's just that, they don't have the depth of talent that the good teams have, and they're the way the philosophy around the organization is they're develop the young guys. They're going to have a ton of cap space. See what happens with the new CBA and try to bring in a couple of guys that add to the core of young guys and see can they start rolling again.
And with that, how have you seen Tyreek Evans and DeMarcus Cousins develop so far this season? Where are they at?
DeMarcus has gotten a lot better. He still has his issues with fouls. Sometimes he gets a little bit out of control, picks up some charges. But he's getting a lot better at realizing that he just can't, power through everyone. And that he really is a very quick guy for a guy. In fact, he's very quick. He's quicker than most 4s and 5s. So he's learning how to use his quickness, finish around the basket. He's not, an explosive type athlete. So a lot of his finishes are going to be, around the rim, up and under type things. But he's gotten better. He's getting better with the refs and not letting every call stop him and, give the refs the evil glare, that type of thing. He's getting better with that. Tyreek's main issue this year is that he hasn't been healthy. He's had plantar fasciitis from basically day one. It started actually against the Lakers back to the preseason in Las Vegas. He sprained both of his ankles that night. And then he missed a couple of preseason games, and he came back, and then the plantar fasciitis flared up right after that. And until maybe the last week or so, he's been real up and down just physically, and there's nights where he looks great, other nights where he just looks like he can't move, he can't play defense, and that's really been probably the biggest issue with the Kings this year is just that so much of their team is built around Tyreek being healthy and playing well, and he can't do that, but other guys suffer.
And lastly, Jason, this question has to do maybe about more of the future and all that. How do you assess the likelihood that Sacramento decides to relocate?
I don't think it's going to happen this year, but I think a lot of it will have to do with how they look early next season. I mean, the Maloofs say that they have to keep their options open, but they insist they don't want to leave Sacramento, but they got another like there's 4 groups of people, not people, but investment groups and whatnot, coming up with more arena proposals, and there's a debate over where should the arena be. Should it be where it is now? Should they move it downtown? But I'm pretty sure they'll be around in Sacramento in the next season. After that, there's really no telling, just because maybe the economy gets better. Maybe they can sway public opinion to get some more funding. Because the whole issue you have right now is that a lot of people in Sacramento feel like this team is bad. Tell the Maloofs to buy their own arena. And they kind of see it. They don't. And Kevin Johnson is the mayor. He's been selling it as the sports and entertainment complex. It's not just a basketball arena. We can have concerts, we can have this, we can have conventions. It's not just for the Kings, but the way it is right now, the climate up there, state workers with furloughs and everything. No one really wants to hear about an arena right now.
Right. Well, knowing that team, would Anaheim ever be a realistic scenario?
I think for them at this point, just because of the economics of it, everything's realistic. Seattle's realistic. Kansas City is realistic. You know, I think it's all at this point real realistic. I just can't imagine them wanting to come to Southern California to be the third team because the Clippers have Blake Griffin and then you have the Kings, and really, who's gonna really care? You know, I can't. I mean, and I cover the Kings and I like them, but I mean, come on, would you really want to come to Southern California and be behind the Lakers, the Clippers, the Dodgers, the Ducks? I mean, there's a lot going on. Do you really want to be the third NBA team?
So there's a lot of teams out here for sure.
Yeah, I just kind of wonder, you know, I mean, the Angels would be more popular in Anaheim than they would be. So, I mean, why would I can't see, I think Seattle or Kansas City would make more sense, but that's just my opinion. Plus, I like Seattle, but so we'll see.
Those are the thoughts of the Sacramento Kings beat reporter Jason Jones. Jason, thanks a lot for coming on and taking the time.
No problem. Anytime.